I just wanted to be clear that I have no personal vested interest in this episode tonight.
For the next album, Peter Grant made the boasting comment, he could put out an album in a brown paper bag and people would still buy it.
They did put out an album in a brown paper bag.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did.
One more thing to touch on what you were saying, Royce, about the accident that Robert Plant had.
Yes.
It was his wife. She was severely injured.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
His kids were injured, but not too bad. Another person that people don't talk about that I read a couple different places is that Jimmy Page's daughter was with them, and she ended up not being injured. Right. Plant broke his leg in two different, I think it was one or two different spots.
He's not fond of the album. He, as a matter of fact, he says the album has two saving graces. One, I agree with him, which, of course, is Achilles' Last Stand. And he then said, Candy Store Rock. So, in my opinion, Robert Plant is a genius, but he's wrong on that one. He likes the track, out of all of them. And I'm going, really? You'd pick that one over any other track,
I can kind of see his point, though, because every other track is all dealing with the heavy emotional stuff. Candy Store Rock, it's the first, okay, let's have some fun track.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, maybe that's what he was grasping at.
Later, we'll talk about trying to find some solace and spiritual guidance. We'll be talking about songs that talk about the crazy days of Led Zeppelin, excesses of drugs and sexual proclivities and questionable hangouts, right? Well, this opening track asks the question, listen to the lyrics, is it time to move on? Right? And then the rest of the album explores what themes are they trying to move on from. Right. So there's almost Page was right. There was a presence there. And like all great albums, an almost, you wouldn't call this a concept album, but it's not far off. As all true great pieces of art usually unveil, there's so many different facets to enjoy.
That's right.
I think it's a masterpiece.
Well, when you listen to that, it just makes you miss John Bonham. Eric was just talking about Eric Schultz so much. I mean, you don't realize just how young those guys were, when John Bonham passed.
Plant even said that it depressed him to no end. Now think about this. His family's in an accident. This guy was so plagued during his time with Led Zeppelin. And then, doctors telling him he might not even walk again. He's doubting his own future. And due to the taxes that are mentioned in the previous track, they are forced almost to, and it was the LA scene was a favorite of Zepp. They loved it there, and the excess cocaine is basically what this song is about. And the excess use of cocaine, and of course Stevie Nicks and her crowd and all of them suffered horribly at this time period. So he came in, first of all, not in a great mood physically and feeling rushed the whole time. And he openly has said in interviews, this song is a critique of that entire experience. He was not happy at all. He didn't want to be there.
T for One. The closing number was a slow blues written by Plant about the problems he was, facing being separated from his family, and was an attempt to update their earlier Since I've Been Loving You from Led Zeppelin's 3. As the band rekindled the purpose and fire of blues without resorting to the genre's basic structure. This song really grabbed me. I thought it was just fantastic.
Well, it's definitely a culmination of everything else on the album for sure. It's Robert Plant. He didn't want to be there to begin with. Oh my God, how long every day must have been trying to record in a wheelchair.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Like
down in a
how
basement.
24 hours seems to slip into days. You know, a minute seems like a lifetime.
Terrible.
Oh my God, can't we just be done with this? Yeah.
Yep.
And away from the ones he loves most.
Yes. Oh yeah, like let's not forget his wife was severely injured.
Yeah.
Right.
His kids
Yeah.
were hurt.
Right. I mean, terrible to be away from everybody like that.
Outside of the 2 songs he wrote about his kids, that being All My Love and The Ocean,
Right.
this is probably his most personal song, and
Yeah.
or The Crunch.
Well, that's a good point.
You know, in
And
his
fun.
in his condition, the
Yeah.
only thing that would have been motivating me is to get done and get the hell out of there. You know?
Yeah. Or to why show up to start with?
Well, you
know,
had a
that's-
crack in the band kind of at this point. You've got
Yeah.
both Jones and Plant yearning from home or for home, and you've got Page and Bonzo still flying high. You know, and if there's any contention to the album, it might be that, or fans felt that way at the time.
Yeah.
Because every move was in every magazine.
Right.
Hell,
right.
they were being written up on every rag that faced you. You went into the grocery store, and there'd be a rag with Led Zeppelin on it. You know?
But could they really criticize them for taking a break
God,
before
yeah.
this album?
Oh no, they got I mean, if they farted in between a number on stage, there was a whole article about it.
Well, they seem to be under a lot of pressure. I don't know
Except
if
for
their manager pushed them a little too hard or what. But hey, Michael, Joseph Blue, whose comment is up, you know, he went on your poll today,
Yeah.
and he said this track is the what T for one is the one he voted for.
Yeah, at this point, it's only 8% of the vote. As a matter of fact, I was just looking at that. I chose what most critics consider kind of the highlights of the album. Achilles' Last Stand, For Your Life, Nobody's Fault But Mine, and T for One.
Right.
And last place is For Your Life. T for One at 8%, For Your Life at 7%, 28% Nobody's Fault But Mine, and 57% Achilles' Last Stand. So
right.
well over half, and that's so far. I just started this poll. That's out of 440 votes. So we'll see once it gets to about 1,000. My polls usually get to about that. So, but everybody, that's the one thing. This gets the most criticism from Led Zeppelin albums, often from fans. Yet, Achilles' Last Stand is often Led Zeppelin fans, one of their favorite songs.
Yeah.
You know, it's in their top 10 of Led Zeppelin songs. And that's interesting, and it even starts the album.
Another thing about that song is it's definitely Led Zeppelin's best progressive rock song.
Oh, yeah.
Like it could fit, maybe I could possibly see it fitting on one of the earlier Yes albums or something like that.
It almost, I was going to say that earlier, Chris. I think that it's the closest they've been to being a prog rock band. There's some excellent examples on Houses of the Holy, too, by the way. Yeah. But yes, there is a touch of Yes in this piece, It travels and has many different parts to it, and kind of obeys prog rock's rules, along the way, and yet still a complete Led Zeppelin rager,
See, some of the bass lines in there kind of remind me of Roundabout.
There was somebody on a talk show that was backstage a lot, and they all thought with the band, they all thought Jimmy Page was going to be the first to die. I mean, that's how much partying was going on.
I thought it'd be Plant. I thought something's out to get him. He almost died in a car accident with Richard Cole, the asshole tour manager, driving him from Portland, Oregon, so they could get down and hit the what was the club they played down in L.A. the big famous club, the hellhole little club that's
Whiskey a
Whiskey a
Go-Go?
Whiskey a Go-Go.
Okay.
because they needed that time to get ready for the San Francisco show, Fillmore West, that broke this band. And so in order for Plant to get to that point, it was almost a Buddy Holly tragedy. Richard Cole is blasted out of his mind driving in snow.
Right.
And they almost die, and then his son, then the accident with his wife, his lyrics clearly saying, along with interviews from him and Joan saying they miss their families.
Right.
If anybody had a target on his back, I thought Bonzo was like Keith Richards, he was impervious to anything short of a nuclear conflict.